April 21st, 2017. Rural Alabama. It's after midnight. A group of men stand in a field surrounded by trees. There are no phones, no lights, no witnesses. One by one, they're blindfolded. Each man places his right hand on the shoulder in front of him, a symbol of brotherhood. Then someone shouts, "If there are any snitches here, we killed the snitches." Gunshots explode into the air. Boom, boom. What none of them know, one man in that circle is an FBI agent. And if they find out, he won't leave that field alive. This is the story of Scott Payne, a 6'4", tattoo-covered undercover FBI agent, a man who spent years infiltrating biker gangs, neo-Nazis, and violent extremists, and the agent who successfully infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan, not from the outside, but from the inside. Scott Payne didn't look like an FBI agent. He looked like the kind of man people cross the street to avoid. Southern accent, heavy build, covered in tattoos. No college pedigree, no foreign languages, which is exactly why the FBI wanted him. Because Scott didn't need to pretend to be dangerous. He already was. By the early 2000s, Scott had gone undercover as a contract killer, an arms trafficker, a contraband smuggler. He embedded himself with biker gangs, violent criminals, and extremists. And every time he had to do the same thing: make them trust him. There's a rule in undercover work no one talks about. You don't just lie to criminals. You become their friend. You drink with them. You laugh with them. You protect them. And then you betray them. Scott knew the cost, and this time it would be higher than ever. The KKK didn't recruit openly. They didn't advertise. They operated quietly. But Scott discovered something unexpected: a hotline. He called. On the other end was a man named Jack, a hardcore Klansman with a drinking problem and a loud mouth. Scott told him he got the number from biker friends. It made sense. White supremacists and biker gangs often overlapped. Jack invited him to a rally. There was only one problem. They needed a musician. Scott lied. "I sing." Jack loved it. Scott had just talked his way into the KKK. April 21st, 2017. Scott drove for hours into the middle of nowhere. The entrance was guarded by armed men dressed in black. Many were convicted felons. No badges, no backup, no escape. As night fell, Scott was invited to participate in something called a naturalization ceremony. No explanation. Everyone else was doing it. If he refused, he'd stand out. So he agreed. Scott was blindfolded. He placed his hand on the shoulder in front of him. They were ordered to kneel. An oath was spoken. Words about loyalty, about race, about violence. Then the blindfold came off. A Klansman in a green robe stood in front of him, holding a sword. Scott was tapped on the shoulder. And just like that, he had joined the Ku Klux Klan. Walking back to his truck, the realization hit him. This wasn't symbolic. This wasn't theater. He was now inside a domestic terrorist organization, and every word he said from this point forward could get him killed. The KKK wasn't what it used to be: smaller, disorganized, less dangerous. But during Scott's infiltration, the FBI noticed something worse: a new movement. Younger, more violent, more willing to kill. Accelerationists, groups who didn't want influence, they wanted collapse. One group stood out: the base. Neo-Nazis, paramilitary, explicitly violent. Their goal was simple: trigger chaos, start a race war, burn society down. Scott went undercover again. New identity, new hate-filled posts, new digital trail. Within weeks, they invited him in. Scott attended hate camps deep in the woods, weapons drills, hand-to-hand combat, survival training, and then a ritual. They stole a goat, killed it, drank its blood, burned Bibles, burned American flags, screaming, "Death to America." And then it escalated. They began discussing murder. The base planned to kill an Antifa couple. They discussed entry points, escape routes, DNA avoidance, tape pants to shoes, burn clothes, use fire to destroy evidence. Scott recorded everything. If he made one mistake, he would become the next body. In January 2020, Scott met one of the group's leaders. He distracted him. A SWAT team moved in. Arrests followed across multiple states. The base was dismantled, lives were saved, and Scott Payne walked away alive. Scott retired in 2021. He never told most people what he did, because undercover work leaves scars you don't talk about. For years, he lived among people who wanted to destroy the country, and stopped them by becoming one of them. This wasn't just infiltration, it was survival. And if he had failed, you wouldn't know his name, because he'd never have made it out.